afternoon, Chicago Cubs fans, and welcome back to another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. We got some fun topics to discuss today. The Cubs take 2 of 3 from the Padres, and the schedule does not let up, ladies and gentlemen. But it's good to be back home at Wrigley Field. And the Cubs will have the Rangers coming up in another best-of-3 series here starting tonight at 6:40 Central Time. But before we get into all of the weekend's festivities, I just want to thank everyone who has hopped into the channel, liked the videos, subscribed to the channels, and commented down below. Let me know in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, how many games the Cubs are going to win against the Rangers here in the next few days. We got our number 1, our number 2, and number 3 pitchers going in our rotation. How many are the Cubs going to take? Comment that down below. So, bittersweet ending this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about it. The Cubs do still take 2 of 3 from the Padres. I do want us to remember a lot of the good that happened this weekend because it was a very bittersweet ending yesterday. The Cubs were up as much as 7-3 against the Padres. Kyle Tucker hit his first home run at Wrigley. A lot of good moments yesterday. But the Cubs still came in and did good work throughout the weekend. They drew 8 more walks yesterday. Again, adding to their staggering major league total over the weekend. And even though it didn't end the way we wanted it to end, the Cubs still did great work this weekend against a really good Padres team. I'm very confident that if we match up with the Padres in the playoffs, we can make it a really good game, best of 5, best of 7, if we play them. So, it was still a great series. 2.5 games worth of series, I'd say, because the second half of yesterday's game is where it kind of fell apart for us. But either way, the Cubs still win the series, and we move on to the next one, right, ladies and gentlemen? That's the key here, because we kind of knew this coming into the year. We weren't 100% sure what it was going to exactly look like, but the bullpen does have its issues, ladies and gentlemen. And Ryan Stressly Presley is a very real thing. But I also do want to note that over a course of 162 games, even if you have a great bullpen, they're still going to give up leads. They're still going to, mess things up every once in a while. So I still think the bullpen has issues, but I don't want the Cubs to focus on it too much because if you remember last year, the first month and a half, 2 months, the bullpen was an issue, and then the Cubs bullpen turns it around. But just like last year, right, the offense started out incredible, and then our offense went away. So we have to remember this is going to come in ebbs and flows, and honestly, just the way we've been cooking the 5 wins in a row, yesterday kind of felt like we were going to lose regardless of the situation, right? Ben Brown obviously did not get off to the greatest start in this one, ladies and gentlemen, giving up 3 walks in the first inning. He couldn't find the plate. He hit a batter with the bases loaded. It just really wasn't a good start. I do love seeing the actual fight from the Cubs offense, though, just reassuring the young man that, hey, we do got you, defensively and offensively and stuff like that. So, very good positive building blocks on that front, but not a good start from Ben Brown. Obviously, the bullpen did not help us do any favors, but Cubs didn't win. I just don't want to, dwell on this one loss. You never want to lose a run where you never want to lose a game where your team scores 7 runs, but again, it's baseball. Over the course of 162 games, when you look at all those games individually, it's gonna be crazy once in a while. And there's going to be some wild losses. That's just how baseball goes. So I agree. We've had a comment a few days ago saying, hey, it's been 2 weeks. Relax. I agree. I don't want to stress out too much about it. The Cubs have lost 5 games this year. The first 2 were in Japan. Those were kind of weird games. They had this bullpen game. They had that last game in Arizona. And then they had that blowout loss in Arizona. So a couple of quirky ones. They're games you want to have to win, but you're facing really good ball clubs, ladies and gentlemen. And that trend is going to remain the same here with the Texas Rangers coming to town, right? The Cubs open up a 3-game set against the Texas Rangers, the 2023 World Series champions. And ladies and gentlemen, They look absolutely fantastic. They look like they're over that hangover last year. They're 8-2 to start the 2025 season, but I think coming into Wrigley is going to provide some unique challenges for this Rangers team, right? They're used to warm weather. They're used to mashing the baseball. Well, it's going to be in the high teens tonight after the sun sets at Wrigley, and it's not going to feel good. So hopefully it's going to become more of a pitcher's duel, which could favor the Chicago Cubs here in the grand scheme of things. Now, if we match them in the World Series, it's going to be a lot different of a matchup, but the Cubs have a great chance here to take 2 of 3 from this Rangers ball club, because just like as the Padres came into Wrigley, right, bursting hot, 7-0, they cooled down a little bit. They were able to cool down a little bit, like the weather, and maybe the Cubs can snag 2 of 3, especially with our main man, Justin Steele, going tonight. We are going to be facing Nathan Eovaldi, one of their best young pitchers as well. We're going to be facing the best of the Rangers. We're going to give them the best of us. And hopefully the Cubs can do some work tonight. So, what are the keys to taking this series win against the Rangers, right? Because that's what I want to remember, ladies and gentlemen. Winning series is the most important part about baseball season. So, even though the Cubs lost yesterday, we still took 2 or 3 for the Padres. Great sign right there. So, what are the keys, in my opinion, for the Cubs to take 2 of 3 from the Rangers? Well, first and foremost, I added a few more to this key maker than against the Padres, but forget yesterday, control today, right? Absolutely. The Cubs need to move on from yesterday because it's a brand new day with a brand new team, and they have an excellent opportunity to continue to test themselves against the Major League Baseball's best. And the Texas Rangers are one of the best teams in baseball, no doubt about it. They won a title in the past few years. They got stars like Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, etc., Marcus Semien, lots of incredible talent on that team. Continue to make the defense make plays. I will say this as well. I think the Rangers are not quite as sharp defensively as the Cubs and a lot of other Major League teams are. But if the Cubs continue to apply the pressure, make them make plays, you kind of saw it in the first inning yesterday. When you apply that pressure to the defense, eventually they crack. And you guys will get runs, which will lead to more wins, no doubt about it. Walk the walk. Continue to draw those walks, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to be patient at the plate. It's going to wear at you over time, and you will be the benefactor of it. No doubt about it. The Cubs lead the league by a wide-standing margin in walks. That is a trend that the Cubs need to continue to take going on here in the 2025 season. And last but not least, when you see Steele, Taillon, Imanaga going in the series, you need to have 2 of 3 wins. There's just no questions asked. 2 of 3 of those absolutely need to be wins. And if that's the case, the Cubs are going to have a very, very successful 2025 season. So, alongside letting me know how many games the Cubs are going to take against the Rangers, let me know some of your keys to the series against the Texas Rangers this week. It's going to be a cold one, ladies and gentlemen, but Cubs start tonight at 6:40 p.m. Central Time. I will see you guys tomorrow with another one. Peace!